Hey guys, I'm going to be talking about the Bf-109 G-10. The G-10 is a rank 4 battle rating 5.3 German aircraft. The G-10 originates from the G-14, which itself originates from the G-6. The G-6 was being built by many different factories in Germany, which led to issues of standardization. The G-14 was introduced in 1944 and was intended to address these standardization issues. It did ultimately fail in this goal. However, it did significantly increase the combat capability of the G or Gustav series Bf-109. This was mainly due to an increased engine power due to the addition of water methanol injection and an enhanced cockpit. This cockpit was called the Euler Haube cockpit and significantly improved the visibility for pilots. Early Bf-109 cockpits had multiple pylons with small strips of glass in between them. This hampered rearward visibility. The Euler cockpit was made of 4 planes of glass with minimal metal support, reducing the blind spots caused by pylons. This cockpit, as well as the engine boost, gave the G-14 a significant boost to medium altitude performance, as well as combat effectiveness. The G-10 was designed after the G-14. It was intended to bridge the production gap between the G-14 and the K-4. It used the K-4's recently redesigned engine, the Daimler-Benz 605D2. The engine was significantly more powerful than the engines fitted to the G6 and G14. The K4's airframe was not yet in large-scale production, so the new engines were mounted to improved Gustav airframes. You can think of the G10 kind of like the British premium, the Spitfire Mark 14C, which features a greatly improved Griffin engine on the slightly outdated Spitfire Mark 9 airframe. As well as the improved Daimler-Benz engine, other improvements from the G14 included the deletion of the bulges for the fuselage-mounted machine guns and the removal of the radio mast just aft of the cockpit. These small changes greatly improved aerodynamic performance by reducing drag. In War Thunder, the G10 is located within a folder along with the G14 and the G6. This means that to fly the G10 you have to research and purchase the G14. This drawback is slightly made up for by the fact the G10 has the highest RP rewards for the Gustav series of fighters. Starting armament of the G10 consists of one 20mm nose-mounted cannon and two 13mm electrically fired machine guns. The nose-mounted cannon can be replaced by a 30mm Mark 108 motor cannon, as well as additional wing-mounted 20 or 30mm cannons. I recommend going down the flight performance line in the modifications until at least tier 3, then you can consider purchasing the 20mm belt upgrade. I personally didn't experience a bad stock grind with this plane. German teams are pretty good though, stay close and you should be alright. In terms of use in battle, I recommend to climb with your allies, whether that's to the side or climbing straight into the enemy. German teams rely heavily on baiting and switching, as well as having a severe energy advantage over your opponent. If you want to energy fight, I wouldn't recommend taking the gun pods. They significantly hinder your energy retention and turn time. If you plan on sticking close to teammates at all time, my go-to loadout is the nose-mounted 30mm with the 20mm gun pods. Try not to take pot shots like this and recommend getting your enemies into a low energy position, then firing short bursts to conserve ammo. As previously stated, the Bf-109's engine performance is most powerful at high altitudes. This is where your supercharger performs best and outranks most allied planes. Therefore, staying high with a moderately high energy state is ideal. If you are at high altitude and merge with an enemy, I wouldn't recommend going for a head-on. Instead, extend and then shallow climb. This is usually the easiest way to set up easy kills, as if your opponent tries to follow you in an inferior engine, they'll usually bleed all their energy and you can just turn back and dive back down on them. This is a tactic frequently used against Spitfires, such as the LF Mark 9s. They have very high climb rates, but they have very poor high altitude engine and turn performance. The biggest threat in this plane during the early game are the LF Mark 9s, just because they will be on top of you, and they will be able to dictate the fight if you let them. Therefore, just zoom past them and extend. During the mid-game, if your team is down low and a few allied boom and zoomers have survived, such as a P-47M, P-50D-30, the Tempest, the Mark 5 and Mark 2, if they're still above you, then there's very little you can do. Again, being high and being fast is the only way to survive in this plane. So why play the G-10? Well, the G-10 has a slightly lower battle rating than the K4. The K4 has a 5.7 battle rating. Now, 0.3 BR isn't really much, but it has a big effect on the matchmaker. It's because Germany doesn't have any props above 5.7, whereas the Allies go all the way up to 6.7. This leads to games of 5.7 German teams, such as K4s, TA-152s, frequently fighting 6.3 Allied teams. Facing Bearcats and Mach 22 Spitfires and VF-109K isn't much fun. Up tiers to 6.3 are still possible in the G10, but they are very uncommon. I can't remember the last time I had one. It's usually a 5.7 game. The repair cost compared to the K4 is also cheaper, roughly 10,000 silver lines cheaper than the K4. Also previously mentioned, the G10 has access to taking out 3 30mm MK108 cannons. The K4 does not have this option, it only has wing-mounted 20s. This allows the G10 to be used in a multitude of uses, from a dedicated fighter to a pure bomber hunter. We'll now go on to some gameplay. So we're here on the D-Day special event, currently climbing, about a 20-degree climb. Met a Spitfire Mark 9 LF. Now I know I just said you shouldn't head on, but Friday night, a few beers, created his right wing. Now I'm going to extend, can't turn back. Slight turn there, I'm going to turn away from the enemy. They go one way, you go the other, just so they can't just flip back round on you. You ever fought against the Zero, you'll know what I mean. So most of my friendly team is low at the minute. I've got a Spitfire closing on me. Now this Spitfire's climbing up towards me, he's bleeding his speed. I'm going to level out and go into a vertical. Now he's in a very sharp turn and he's in a climb, he's going to be hemorrhaging speed. As you can see, you just can't meet my turn, I've got a better engine. I was going to fully roll over here, but I realised I wasn't going to get inside him here, he's still got a bit of energy. There's a Typhoon Zoom climbing up to get me. But he doesn't have the energy. The Spitfire's shooting, but he can't get his nose round. That Focke-Wulf is a bit too low to help with the Spitfire, but I think he's got the Typhoon. Again, I'm always keeping my nose slightly pointed upwards. Just check and see where enemy fighters are. Doesn't matter how good as a pilot I am in a 1v1 if he's got a mate. When you're fighting like this at low energy, there's nothing you can do if it's 2 versus 1. But the Spitfire's given up, he's starting to run. And you can see my engine performance. It's greatly better than his by my acceleration. I think his friendly Spitfire to my right is occupied with the 2 BF-109s. This is my poor aim here. I think there is a slight desync between the replay and what I see, because I'm not that bad a shot, that was terrible. So he goes underneath me, I go back up. You don't want to follow a Spitfire in a rolling turn. Go out on top of him. He's trying to get his head up, he's trying to get his nose round to shoot at me. But he's still climbing, even though he does look like he's faster, he's still trying to climb. now he's going down again, I'm going up. We're now at a higher altitude than what we originally started the merge, so my engine just keeps on getting better and better. And now I'm actually able to turn inside of him. He should have carried on that dive here, he should have gone underneath me, but instead he turns back right. And that's the kill. P-51 pops up there. I didn't realise it until I turned around, so I just wasted a bunch of energy. Roll the plane over so the nose is down, that means I'm turning and gaining speed. Gonna need it against his P-51, very fast in a straight line. Now I don't know what he's just been doing, he could have just been flying straight, he could have levelled out with a dive to come towards me. He is closing pretty quick, so I put my nose down. Gonna force him to roll to one side, then I'm gonna roll the other way. If he's higher speed than me, he won't be able to get his nose round to finger to get an accurate shot. Now, to go ahead on with the Spitfire. Fortunately, it works. Couldn't have done any fighting there because the P-51 would have just pulled back round. I don't really want to get killed by a guy called Hentai King. So, line up another head on. Unfortunately, he does hit my engine. I've cut the rest of this gameplay out, but I did manage to get back to base. Spitfire can last ages with a dead engine. This next game, I'm a bit tunnel visioned on this Hornet. And I'll notice on my map a red dot. A bit too close for comfort. So turn into him, you can't get an accurate shot on. Again, put it into a vertical. Or a vertical spiral, sorry. He doesn't have the energy to follow me whatsoever, so he goes down into a dive. Really here, you should have put it into a little dive like that and then gone to horizontal, or a shallow dive. BF-109 will catch him in a dive. It will not catch a Corsair in a shallow dive. Now, good of him to turn there. I'm compressing, I can't turn with him. Go back into the vertical. Got a Wyvern with bigger balls than any others here. Why he's at 2,000 meters in a dogfight, not sure. Now, my poor aim. Don't manage to kill him there, should have been dead. Corsair is very fast in a straight line, but it's not built for vertical energy retention. So he's bleeding speed every time he does this, because I'm only losing a bit. Now, I'm not going to miss twice. Single burst, that's the kill. Everyone's favourite map, Norway. Or P-47D here. He is slightly lower battle rating than me, but he will be faster in a straight line. What he should have done here, he's gone into a shallow dive. He's trying to outspeed me in the horizontal, but his acceleration isn't as good as mine. He should have gone into a sharp dive, then in a shallow dive immediately. He would have been able to drag me down, or at least pull me to a teammate. Instead, he goes for a dive, which is right, but then he turns. Now I'm going significantly faster than him here. Try and get a deflection shot, but I can't. Now you shouldn't ever pull up straight like that when I'm following him. See, I extend a little bit, then I go up. Gives me more time to shoot when he's stalling. And see, again, just short bursts of accurate fire. That's all you need with these guns. I thank my teammate there for baiting him. So we've got a P-51 to our side and an F-82 in front. P-51's coming in, so I put my nose down to get a bit of speed. Ready to go defensive, but then he goes for a teammate. Now I'm never going to catch him in a dive. Very smart from him, he goes into the clouds, obviously we'll lose visibility. Very hard to lead a target with guns in clouds you can't see. You don't have a range. So I just pull up and I get out of the clouds, at least I'll be able to see a bit better. Now I'll just put in chat there, watch for F-82. So I lost where he went. And I see Tracer coming out the sky. We found the F-82. He stalled himself, trying to zoom climb after me. Again, I go into a vertical, use my better vertical energy retention and engine power. It's like arcade, just swing it round. He's not got any power, he's not got any speed. Now, waste a bit of ammo here, bursting. But the 30s, you only need one hit and they're gone. Now this is an example of when shit hits the fan. This is the very worst case scenario you could be in. I've got enemies all above me. I've got no advantages here. I've almost given up on this point. Spitfire directly above me. Now I'm relying on him having far more energy than me. So I'll go defensive as if I'm playing a Focke Wolf. Cut engine. Do some negative cancer rolls, making it very hard for him to hit. But as you can see, he wasn't at an energy advantage than me, so we both just glide. And he goes back up vertical. Spitfires, the early model Spitfires don't have very good energy retention in the vertical, so he doesn't really get away. Now the only reason I'm alive here is because of him being a inexperienced pilot. You could say I'm inexperienced with the amount of spraying I did there, but I'm alive, he's not. So this next clip is an example of when you and a Spitfire are at the same energy state. The Spitfire's weaker engine and poor high altitude turn just makes him a sitting target. But he knows I'm here now and he's starting to roll the turn. He's starting his roll here, and he's like a bloody Titanic trying to turn, and I just blow him out the sky. Now this is a trick I learned from Green Fury on YouTube. It's called the BF-109 engine braking. So you put your engine into manual, put your propeller pitch to 100. Now in this clip I forgot to turn my engine power down to 0, and you can see my engine is now orange, destroyed. But here I'm going just about to overspeed. I put manual engine back on and I just lost about 150 kilometers an hour in 2 seconds. You can use this to make enemies overshoot. I should have used it for the Spitfire, but I wasn't thinking. Well, this next clip is a bit of a better demonstration. So I set my throttle to 100, open up manual engine control, put propeller pitch to 100%, keep my throttle at 0%, and we're just gliding down. Easily control my speed. As soon as I see that reduced speed warning, just put my engine control back on. Slows us right down. This is a vertical dive. Kill him. Put my manual engine control on again to slow down, as I would have ate shit in that snow. Throttle back up. Now this is me going for a montage clip here, thinking, oh, wouldn't it be good if I got this shot, but it was a desperate attempt. Back into the vertical. I've got every advantage in the world here. Tempest tries to go evasive, but shear his wing off and he's dead. This last clip's a bit of a culmination of everything I've been talking about. We're going to use the engine braking again to put ourselves in a good position. Got a P-47M ground pounding. Not a hard kill, but it's him destroying these things that are losing us the game. So he tries to force a head on. Very smart of him. That's the only really thing he can do to kill me. I put it straight into the vertical. Come down on top of him. He doesn't really have the speed because he's been ground pounding turning. He can't really do any split S's. I go evasive, I just shear his wings straight off. Thank you very much for watching. Did quite a bit of research on this from a few different sources. So I hope you enjoyed it. Cheers again.